Hi, Sylvia.
Hi, Jessica.
We're here to discuss love language primarily between partners, romantic love language, but we'll touch on other love languages as well as a parent and as a work colleague, as a friend. But I'm Jessica Pressler, licensed clinical social worker, and Sylvia.
And I'm Sylvia Puentes. I am a nurse and I'm also a faith-based coach and mentor.
And the one thing that we have together is that we've been friends for over 20 years, and we have not only professionally have an understanding of the many things we talk about today as love language, but we also have lived through a lot of stuff. So we bring our experience and our knowledge to the table here.
Yes.
So we're discussing love language today, and the person that coined the phrase love language, I believe, is Dr. Chapman. And again, of course, forgetting his first name, and I'll have you remind me again because I can't remember it. So, what's his first name again?
Dr. Gary Chapman.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And he discusses the concept of love language. Now, he has several books out, what love language is for couples and children and singles and teenagers and men and military. And as I said, we're going to touch on other than romantic love languages, but primarily we're going to discuss today romantic love language. So he breaks it down into how we communicate, actions we take, and things to avoid. And he breaks it down also to words of affirmation, physical touch, receiving gifts, quality time, and active service. So let's discuss the different types of love language. Would you like to touch on physical touch?
Sure. I
Okay.
mean, I love that love language.
Uh-huh.
So physical touch is holding hands, cuddling, um, even just, walking by your partner and, you know, um, suddenly tapping them wherever you want to
Yeah,
tap them.
sure.
But just making that physical contact.
Right.
And the person whose love language is physical touch receives that as a sign of love, is feels loved, feels noticed and appreciated when their partner expresses love this way.
So I want to stress that I didn't yet say, and that is love language is personal to the receiver. So we all grow up differently. We are all taught different things. Some touch is comfortable for others and not comfortable for another person. You need to be mindful of what the other person is. And again, let's talk romantic. You need to be mindful of what your partner's love language is. And to do so, a lot of that takes communication. Some of it's trial and error. They may not even know what their love language is, but to listen, to communicate, because for me, physical touch is comfortable and it feels wonderful. When someone touches my arm when they're speaking to me, or holds my hand, or gives me a hug, I feel loved. I do. For someone else, it may be not comfortable. So it's really important to know the love language of your partner or other person that you're expressing love language to.
Yes, absolutely.
So the
I
next
think,
one, I'm sorry, I didn't mean
no, I'm sorry.
to.
No, no, no. I think it's also a good time to interject that we should not assume that our partner knows what our love language is,
Mhm.
nor should we assume to know our partner's love language.
And
It's
not assume that the other person knows their own love language. Sometimes you're
right.
learning together.
Yeah, absolutely. So communication is key.
So important.
Yeah.
The next one that he speaks about is words of affirmation.
So words of affirmation are, person whose love language is words of affirmation, they like to be told, I love you, or I really love when you do this, or I really appreciate you. I appreciate that you do this.
Right.
So that person's love language is words of affirmation. That's how they receive love, feel um, appreciated, noticed, validated in their relationship.
Mhm. Right. Exactly. The next one is receiving gifts. How do you feel about receiving gifts?
Well, I mean, I like gifts, but it's not my love language. However, that said, it doesn't mean that it's, you know, big gifts, big grand gestures all the time. It could be something so simple like you're checking out at the grocery store and you
Mhm.
see the Reese's Pieces cup, you know, Reese's Buttercups, and you know that your partner loves these, and you pick it up, you make, you know, you bring it home for them, um, because that makes them feel as though, you know what, you thought about me, you saw this, and it
Right.
was, you know, I came to mind.
So it's not the thing, it's that they're feeling heard, they're feeling that you know them, which goes
Right,
back to the need to understand what the other person's love language is. Because if you
right,
bring home something that doesn't doesn't touch them, but it may touch you. I mean, it's, you have great intentions, you're doing something that you know, that you are expressing how you feel, but that may not make them feel the intent, you know, loved.
right, absolutely.
Knowing them, it's feeling heard, it's feeling that, you know, known. The other one he talks about is quality time. And I would like to stress in this time, this period of time where we're all walking around with our cell phones, that 15 minutes of time together where you put down your phone is can make a person feel um, heard, that you want to be with them. It makes them feel loved than 2 hours of being with them while you're checking your phone constantly.
Yeah, it also expresses that um I'm focusing on you. And, you know, for someone whose quality time is their love language, they feel that their partner is taking the time out
Mhm.
to focus on them, to, you know, which is very important.
Mhm.
And I know that you've mentioned about continue dating your spouse.
Mhm. Yeah, so I've done marital therapy for many years. And one of the important things that I stress to people, because everyone gets caught up in work, they have children, and money. Money's an issue. But when I say dating, dating doesn't have to be uh, going out or spending money at dinner. Dating could be walking around, taking a walk around the block, or closing your door. And let's say you put your kids to sleep and you close the door and you make popcorn and you play a board game, or you do the love language test I'm going to give shortly. But just, you know, but once, I always say once a week, do something together. And if you have the ability to pay for a babysitter, or you have a babysitter, that's ideal, because then you really can concentrate on each other. And that those 2 hours together really can really help a marriage.
Yeah. And, you know, another thing that we've talked about is that when we are not deliberate about doing this,
Mm-hmm.
that is when, you know, you suddenly wake up one day and you realize that you are islands apart. And
Right. And much harder to get back together when you have started to be, when you become miles apart, than it is to maintain. I don't mean, and maintain sounds not romantic, but it does feel wonderful to have a good quality 2 hours with a person once a week. It really is a wonderful way to express your love and to feel loved and to share each other and to get to know each other.
yeah, well, maintain doesn't sound romantic. However, there's no perfect relationship.
Mm.
And it does require that we put the effort in.
Right. But effort can feel wonderful. I mean,
Yeah,
if you're dating, that's part of the effort. The effort is making the time, but
the effort is
hopefully
making,
on the date, it's just going to
yeah,
feel organic. And if it doesn't feel organic in the beginning because you haven't dated each other for 15 years, because that wasn't what you were doing, it will.
I will. Yeah,
It
absolutely.
will
Yeah.
reconnect. And the last one that he speaks about is the act of service. And part of the act of service could be uh, coming to your home and fixing your garage door that's not
Yeah.
working, or oh God, I'm trying to give examples. Cleaning out, you know, your backyard for you, and they're doing, you know, they're doing that because they love you. Now, if your love language, if you don't, because so, and I have spoken about this before, but sometimes men, and I've heard this because I've heard men say this, women do this too. I'm not, will come into a relationship with their partner, and that's a way that they express love. But their partner needs to hear, I love you, or other ways. That's where it's important to be mindful of what the other person's love language is. I'm not to say don't do active service, but understand that they may not understand. You may have to say to them, this is me, part of me loving you, but then for them to understand that you may need something else also to understand, to feel loved.
Yeah, absolutely. And back to the same thing, communication is key. Knowing your partner's love language, knowing
Right.
your own love language, so that you're not assuming one way or another. And you both feel validated in the relationship. You feel loved and appreciated,
Right.
however that looks for you.
Right. So on that note, I'm going to give you a love test, a love language test. And it's important, because there's no right or wrong answer, but I think this test is a good way to open up a discussion with your partner. So I'm going to do this test with you now. It's up to you if you answer it or not.
Okay.
Okay. So the first question is, I feel most loved when my partner tells me how important I am to them, gives me kisses and hugs, brings me a special treat just because.
Gives me kisses and hugs.
I feel most special to my partner when they make room in our budget for items that are important to me, share what they expect about me, appreciate about me. Oh boy, where'd that come? Share what they appreciate about me, like to do things with me in their spare time.
Like to do things with me in their spare time.
Because that makes you feel what? What does it do for you?
Well, it sends the message to me that they like being with me, that being with me is important to them. It's, they like being with me. I'm important to them. And spending time together is important to them.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I feel best about my relationship when my partner tells me they are proud of me, invites me to spend time with them, looks after our children or our other family members.
Invites me to spend time with them.
I feel most loved when my partner cooks a meal for me, praises my personal qualities, cuddles with me.
Cuddles with me, for sure.
I feel special when my partner makes me feel safe, flirts with me, spoils me with gifts.
Well, for anyone listening out there,
Right.
I do like gifts. In case we end up dating one day. But I like flirting, and also makes me feel safe. I think that feeling safe and nurtured is big for me.
Mm-hmm. My partner can best show love to me by finding fun things for us to do together, supporting me when I'm feeling down, buying me things I could not afford myself.
Supporting me when I'm feeling down.
And the last question is, I feel closest to my partner when they take care of chores I dislike, include me in their hobbies and interests, comfort me when I'm worried or anxious.
Comforts me when I'm worried or anxious.
So these are the questions that I think are important, or can be, in helping you understand yourself. And if you sit down with your partner or friend or whoever it is that you're, well, here partner, I think that it would help communicate. Sometimes it's hard to communicate what your needs and wants are. It would be a way of communicating. This particular test is, sorry guys, is on truity.com, test love, but I'm sure there are other tests on there as well. And we could just type in love language tests and hopefully a test would pop up, or listen to these again. but it's just an opening for a discussion with your partner to help each other understand each other's individual love languages.
Yeah. I think that would be the takeaway from all of this.
I agree.
Communication is key, and knowing, that just leads to a foundation for successful relationships.
Right. Because no one's a mind reader.
No
And
one's a mind reader.
the only way that you're going to understand what your partner's needs are and for your partner to understand your needs is to communicate.
Yeah.
And sometimes
Yeah.
silly little tests like this are ways of doing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Sylvia,
So
great being with you today.
great being with you. Love being with you. And we would love for you guys to like and subscribe. We will continue putting these videos out. If you have any comments, comment. If you have any ideas that you would like us to talk about, we'd love to hear what your ideas are, and we would definitely, bring them out and talk about them.
Bye, everybody. See you soon.
Bye.